Referee blows the whistle. Inter Milan 1. Arsenal 0. Chat, you guys know that saying that Captain America says in the Avengers movies? I could do this all day. That's what Inter are saying today, bro. Cross the ball 50 times. We can do this all day, bro. Arsenal have made Bisek, who is a good center back, by the way. I don't know disrespect to Bisek, but they made him look today like Van Dijk. Bisek has looked like Van Dijk tonight. Bisek has looked like Desai tonight. Almost 50 crosses into the box. Someone please update me with the official stat tonight. How many crosses did Arsenal get at the end of the game? 46 crosses for Arsenal. 9 of them completed. 46 crosses for Arsenal Football Club tonight. 9 of them found their target. Do you guys remember, I'm telling you, you guys remember that La Liga advertisement with the little kid? He's talking about La Liga football and he's like, this can't be football. It's gotta be something else. That's what I'm watching right now, chat. This is not football. What I'm watching from Arsenal these days, this is not Arsenal Football Club that I'm watching. I refuse to be told otherwise. 46 crosses. And chat, people are going to tell me tonight. I can already imagine the comments. I can imagine what Arsenal fans are saying. Inter parked the bus. Inter didn't come to attack. Inter, they didn't have any intention of scoring more goals. So the only way you could break them down was by spamming almost 50 crosses into their box, where all 3 of their center backs are practically 6'3" and above. This is an incredible game plan from Arteta tonight. And when I say incredible, I mean it in the worst way possible. What has happened to this team? Is this really how impactful Odegaard is? Guys, Odegaard must be like De Bruyne level if this is how much the team shifts when he's not there. And let's not even act like Arsenal today are a depleted side. Inter were weaker from the start than Arsenal tonight. Inter got a big Serie A match coming at the weekend against Napoli, top of the table clash. And tonight they were missing Thuram, who's supposed to be Lautaro's basically consistent strike partner up there. The 2 of them together are one of the best partnerships in Europe. Tonight, they're not playing Bastoni, one of the best center backs in all of European football. Tonight, they're not playing Barella, who's arguably the best midfielder in Serie A. It's a weakened Inter Milan team, and it's a weakened team by design. They came into this game more focused on the game at the weekend. And yet, genuinely, I think tonight, chat, if Arsenal had played another hour, they wouldn't have scored a goal. If they had played for another 60 minutes, they would not have scored. Inter have looked so comfortable all game. All game. And it's not like Inter played this amazing game, by the way, right? They had a decent opening first 10 minutes where I thought they were really on Arsenal. They hit the crossbar from the start with Dumfries. And then obviously they get the penalty. Some people will say it's dubiously. Me personally, I think it's a penalty. Now, Arsenal could have definitely had a penalty of their own. That I can't contest. Sommer doesn't make any contact with the ball. Hits Marino in the back of the head. I think Arsenal can feel a little aggrieved there. But on the basis of the game, I hope I don't see tonight on social media Arsenal fans complaining about the referee as tonight being that's the reason why they lost tonight. Because on the basis of the entire 90 minutes, it's another game where I genuinely come out of it thinking Arsenal have not done anywhere near enough to win that game. Seriously. 46 crosses. I said it at halftime, or I said it around 60 minutes. I think if Marouane Fellaini was available today, like if Marouane Fellaini was still kicking it at Everton, number 25 on his back, I think Arteta would have tried spending 60 million on him. I think Arteta would try breaking the bank for Marouane Fellaini. Bro, the Arsenal team that he's constructing is literally just 6 foot plus physical dual monsters. And I get that's important in the modern Premier League. You need athletes. You need guys who can win their individual battles. You need guys that can dominate midfields. But I feel like Arsenal just continue going in this complete opposite extreme where less and less of their players are actual brilliant footballers. I keep saying it, right? I look at that front line. Today, honestly, Arteta, the fact that Trossard and Martinelli played 80 minutes tonight is bewildering to me. I've tried not being too harsh on Martinelli this year because I feel like last year I was really harsh on him. And I want to give the guy chances. But guys, this is another garbage performance from Martinelli. And it's another garbage performance from Trossard. Let's call it what it is here. Those 2 tonight were absolutely awful. How they've lasted 80 minutes. And again, Nwaneri sees the last 10 minutes is beyond me. I'm telling you, Odegaard, he's got to come back. And you know the impact De Bruyne had on the team when he came back last season. That's the kind of impact Odegaard has to have on this team. Because boy, if this is how much Odegaard impacts proceedings for Arsenal, wow, they might have the talent of the century. This team has regressed, man. Honestly, they've regressed. If they can't beat you off set pieces, crosses, or Saka having a great game, forget about it. They're always going to stay in games because of defensively how solid they are. But actually creating chances and scoring goals, this team's regressed. They're no longer the team of last year or the year before. They are a worse offensive team, in my opinion, than the last 2 years. I don't know what the stats say to back that up, but on the eye test, yeah, they're a worse team, man. My eye tells me they're a worse team. And you look at tonight, like I said, if it's not crossing or Saka, forget about it. And tonight, 20% success rate from their crosses in terms of finding a target. And Saka arguably plays his quietest, weakest game of the season. Saka tonight is completely ineffective. And it happens, right? I'm not trying to make excuses for Saka, but if anyone deserves credit in the bank or benefit of the doubt in that team, it is him. He's been their best player this year. But this is what I keep saying about Arsenal. If he's not giving you a moment and Odegaard's not on the pitch, forget about it with this team. Forget about it. Arsenal's season rests in the balance of this weekend. I don't care what anyone tells me. I know it's early in the season. I know there's a lot of football left to be played. But lose this weekend, because I can tell you right now for free, they're not winning the Champions League. I've said it from the start of the year, and I'll say it now. They're not winning the Champions League. As currently built, they have no chance in the Champions League. In the Premier League, they are one game away, in my opinion, this weekend against Chelsea from this season being over for them. They lose this weekend and Liverpool and City win. I don't see how Arsenal win this league. I don't see it. I can't believe what I watched tonight. Honestly, it's not even like Inter were spectacular, right? Inter are a pragmatic team. And people are probably wondering, by the way, why do I have an Inter flag? Why do I have an Inter shirt? Look, I'm a Man United fan. And it's not like tonight, I'm wearing Inter because I don't like Arsenal. I like Inter. Like Inter is, I don't want to say I don't have a second team, but I have a soft spot for them. I do. I've been to the San Siro. I've watched them a few times. I have a soft spot for Inter. But, and on the back of my shirt, one of my favorite players of all time, Diego Milito, Il Principe, absolute legend of the game. But regardless, right, if we move that from the side, Inter are a pragmatic team. They're one of the best coach teams in all of Europe. Make that very, very clear. Simone Inzaghi has these guys so well drilled. And again, I talk about some of the names that missed out tonight. Bisek tonight was the man of the match. Bisek tonight played a 10 out of 10. And yeah, it's aided by the fact that he's an absolute beast physically, and all Arsenal did was cross it to his head. But still, impenetrable tonight. You couldn't get anything past him. You look at Hakan Calhanoglu tonight. Ran the game from midfield. Honestly, so composed, relieved Inter of any pressure that Arsenal got them every single time he got on the ball. Press resistant. Zielinski, I thought, had a really, really good game as well too. Thuram, when he came on, held up the ball. Dumfries bombing up and down the wing. You look at that Inter team, and it's not a team filled with superstars. And you know what I always say about Arsenal? They don't have enough attacking X factor. They don't. They don't. But Inter, on the other hand, also don't, right? Inter don't have, for example, the best players on the planet. In fact, Inter are a team that financially are kind of, how do I say this? They're not in the best position financially. They're a team that have had to build this squad off smart recruitment and off real like bargain buys. They've had to raid Italian teams. They've had to be smart in the free transfer market. And they've built this team of a bunch of guys that there's no bona fide superstars in there. Although I think Bastoni personally is one of the best center backs in the world. But for the most part, none of them were considered superstars in the last few years. Inter have kind of developed them into that, and they're so well coached under Simone Inzaghi that I genuinely believe they will give anyone in Europe a go. And we've seen it in the last few years. They played an amazing game in the Champions League final a few seasons against City. An amazing game. Last year in the Champions League, they went out on penalties to Atletico Madrid. And I truly believe, it's hindsight, but if they had got past Atletico on penalties, that side of the bracket, I would have had Inter going back to the final again. I think I would have. And this season again too. I think Inter will go very, very far in this competition. And yeah, bro, Barella is for me, is probably the best midfielder in Serie A. Lautaro is amongst the most accomplished strikers in the world. I'm not saying they have no good players. They have a lot of good players on their team. But when I talk about like elite players, they don't really have that per se. And that's a big criticism of me when it comes to Arsenal. But Inzaghi makes it work. In the league and in cup competition, Inzaghi has always been an elite knockout football manager, whether it was with Lazio and now with Inter ever since he joined them. They will give a lot of teams problems. Honestly, Inter for me are one of those teams that I don't think anybody wants to play in a knockout round. 2 games back to back, Inzaghi prepares his team exceptionally well. And it's why I look at Arsenal, right? I don't see it with them this year, man. Honestly, I don't see it with them this year. That is such an underwhelming performance. Honestly, it's such an underwhelming performance. And it's been an underwhelming season. It has been. I think Arsenal fans have thrown so many excuses at the wall because it doesn't make sense how far this team has kind of fell this year compared to last season. They're trying to just rationalize it. And I hear it. It's a drop-off. But there's a few reasons for it. I keep going back to it. The transfer market wasn't good enough. The transfer window from Arsenal this season was poor. For a team looking to improve on last campaign, that's not a transfer window that a team makes. It's not. I look at the injury to Odegaard, sure, is not great whatsoever either. But then I look at the manager, man, and I genuinely believe he is going in the other extreme tactically. I think he is, man. I think he's becoming more and more reactive as a manager and more pragmatic and more cautious. And I think it's a reflection on his team. We had 70% possession. Guys, you can have 70% possession. Inter lets you have the ball, man. Inter are that kind of team. I would hope you have 70% possession against Inter, bro. You absolutely did nothing with it. You crossed the ball 46 times into your box. And consistently Inter cleared it away. And you had no plan B whatsoever. So congratulations for that 70% possession. But after 90 minutes, you have absolutely nothing to show for it. You have no big chances created out of it. You have no period where anybody really thought you were going to score a goal. The only opportunity that you would have had to score today is a penalty that, let's be honest, it was just a blunder from Sommer. It's not like you carved Inter open in that moment. I'm not here to move you. I'm not here to make any fan base happy. I was a big fan of Arsenal in the last few seasons. Even as a United fan, I loved watching Arsenal play 2 years ago. And last year, I thought they were a very complete team. This year, I'm not going to bullshit you guys, man. I'm not here to appeal to any fan base. It's crap what I'm watching. Honestly, even Arsenal fans, I can't believe, if I was an Arsenal fan watching this, seeing the heights that this team reached the last 2 years, this would be driving me crazy, man. Because every year you're expecting your team to improve and get better and work on things. And this year, it doesn't feel like you've improved. It doesn't even feel like you're at the same level. It feels like this team is going backwards. That has to be frustrating. And here's the thing, right? When things aren't working out, surely you change something. Every game of Arteta, things don't work out. It's the same lineup the next game. I look at this game today. It's the same lineup basically as at the weekend. Bar Declan Rice, who I think was either injured. I don't know what was his problem today. It's the same players. It's still Martinelli. It's still Trossard. It's still Marino and Partey. When are you going to give other players a go, man? When are you going to try and throw a spanner into the works? Try and surprise a manager? At some point, you have to understand with what you're doing right now with this 4-4-2, or is it even a 4-4-2? Trossard is dropping so deep into midfield. It's not working. It's very easy for teams to defend you. And genuinely, Arsenal have reached the point in this project that in the summer, major cuts are going to have to be made to this team. Honestly, you're going to have uncomfortable conversations about players. Martinelli, tonight has to be the night, chat, that the penny drops with him. Seriously, I get that there's a soft spot with Martinelli. I get why Arsenal fans love Martinelli. He works hard. He's been with them since such a young age. The story of how he broke through. He was one of the guys that was really helping Arteta those first few years where it was really, really rough. That season he had 2 years ago. But guys, I don't know how many times I'm going to have to keep hearing Martinelli scored 15 goals in the Prem. Martinelli scored 15 goals in the Prem. Martinelli scored 15 goals in the Prem. It happened. Get over it. It happened 2 years ago. Seriously. As an elite team, at some point, you have to look at the direction you want your team to go to and realize you can't carry passengers. And right now, Martinelli is a passenger. He's a passenger in this team. This team is trying to progress at a rate faster than Martinelli's development. And at some point, you got to cut off the stragglers, man. You got to let go of the guys that are holding you back. And Martinelli's one of those guys right now, bro. We're not ruthless enough, and that's our downfall. I don't think you even had chances to be ruthless tonight, chat. I'll be so real. Tonight, it's not, for me, it's not a question of ruthlessness. It's a question of creativity. It's a question of being devoid of ideas. I don't think it's a ruthlessness issue tonight. Yeah, ruthless. Okay, yeah, ruthless in terms of, you need to be ruthless in the market on both ends, by the way. I completely agree. Sorry, I misunderstood what you were saying. Yeah, you need to be ruthless in terms of a lot of these players now. Not a lot, okay? I'm not going to say a lot. It's not like half of Arsenal team's not good enough. But there's some guys that are starters, and that's more concerning. Jesus coming off the bench. Look, I love Jesus. I interviewed the guy. He's not the level anymore, man. If you're relying on Jesus to come off the bench and change something for you in 2024, bro, you're in a bad place. You're not in the best place. Similar to Martinelli. If that's your starting left winger for the entire season, bro, you have issues, man. You have issues. You're going to have to make big decisions in the summer, man. They're going to have to spend big money. I'm talking on that left wing. You're going to need to buy a bona fide player, man. None of these bargain buys that you go find at Leicester or something like that. You need to go sign a bona fide world-class level player. This weekend for me is one of the biggest games of Arteta's tenure. Because seriously, they lose this weekend and Liverpool and City win their respective games. Arsenal are completely, how you're driving off and you see in the corner, it says things in the mirror are not as close as they appear. Bro, Arsenal are in the back view mirror, man. Honestly, they are going to be trailing. They're going to be scraping to stay in this. I think they lose this weekend. Or even a draw, man. Draw is not a great result either. They have to get something from this weekend, man. They have to. I'm seriously shocked by what I'm seeing from Arsenal right now. Honestly, and I keep saying it, right? Being pragmatic is not a problem. Playing this kind of football that Arsenal are playing is not a problem. But you have to win. You have to win those games. You have to win trophies at the end of the day. Otherwise, are Arsenal fans really happy playing the way they are for 38 games, 50 games in all competitions if it doesn't result in silverware? I don't think so, man. How can you be shocked how bad attacking we are when one of our few X-Factor players has been out? Because, guys, no team on the planet falls apart completely when one player is out. That's why I'm shocked. Elite teams don't fall apart when one guy is out. If so, they're poorly constructed. If you fall apart creatively because one guy goes out, your team's squad construction has been poor. It's true. You think if Luis Diaz who you could argue, right? Luis Diaz is Liverpool's second most X factor player, if you want to call it that. If he goes out, Liverpool are not collapsing. They go to Gakpo, they go to Jota, they go to Nunez. They haven't even played Chiesa. These guys, if Odegaard goes out, the whole team just falls apart. I'm sorry, if that's the case, there's something wrong with the squad construction. There is. That's why I'm saying if Odegaard comes back and everything changes, wow, this guy must be De Bruyne. This guy must be Zidane. Yo, Lyes, maybe it's an agenda, but I don't think Saka can be the main game changer for Arsenal. To me, he's like a Mane was for Liverpool. They need a superstar like Salah. Yeah, but oftentimes Mane was the best player on Liverpool. I disagree. I think Saka is good enough to lead Arsenal to trophies, but he needs help, bro. That's my big issue here. My whole thing is, I actually agree. Arsenal squad construction has been rotten in terms of actually building a crazy good attack. Yes, they score a lot of goals, but their attack with individuals is poor, man. On average, it's a normal attack. It's nothing to write home about. Seriously. The one thing I won't stand for, though, is like saying sack Arteta. Arteta needs to dig himself out of this mess because right now, Arsenal are a mess. Right now, things are going badly for Arsenal. But now, it's up to the manager to change it. However, that's why I'm a little frustrated because, yeah, like things are going wrong. Why do you keep putting out the same 11? Why do you keep leaving the same players out with 10 minutes left to go? Why do you keep giving Ranieri scrap minutes in the last few minutes of a game? At some point, change things up, man. At some point, you got to be tactically flexible. At some point, you got to realize that your game plan to go into the season or your game plan for these last few games, at one point, the 4-4-2 was working, but teams have figured you out now. How do you respond? Madrid fall apart without Kroos, City without Rodri, Barca fell apart without Yamal. Hold on. First of all, Rodri and Kroos are like dictators of play. If you want to say Odegaard is your dictator of play, maybe, fair enough. But I'm talking about from a creative point of view. City still create chances without Rodri. They get hurt in transition. Similar to Real Madrid, they still create chances. They just can't control games. My issue with Arsenal right now isn't that they're not controlling games. It's that they have no attacking impetus whatsoever. That's their issue. They say Arsenal has more squad depth than Liverpool. Maybe defensively they have more squad depth, but going forward, hell no. Arsenal going forward, their attacking squad depth can't chat to Liverpool. Liverpool have the best attacking squad depth in the league, man. Come on. Arsenal losing to an Inter team who benched 6 starters is embarrassing. They should have gotten Gyökeres in the summer. He's a killer on the... I do think the whole thing that Inter basically played not their B team, but a lot of those guys are not starters for Inter. I hope you guys know that. For all this talk about, oh, we're missing Odegaard, we're missing Rice. Inter were missing more players than Arsenal tonight. And Inter were not great by any means tonight. But they had a game plan. They executed it well. And for me, they're deserving winners tonight. Yes, Arsenal could have gotten a penalty, sure. Could you argue Inter's a penalty? Maybe. I think it's more of a penalty. But on the basis of tonight, Inter were not bothered tonight. Honestly, they could have played like that another 90 minutes. I think they could have. I don't think their defense is worse. They're not conceding that many chances, Arsenal. But they're not as good as they were last year, sure. But they're still playing defensively at a very good level, in my opinion. I do think defensively, they're still playing at a good level. They're not conceding that many chances. But when you're not scoring goals, when you're not creating chances, bro, all it takes is one chance.